friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for another Monday this and that video where I talk about all kinds of different topics, giving you updates, whether it be garden or kitchen related or whatever, and basically whatever I feel like talking about. So let's get to the topics of today, starting off with the chocolate syrup. So you might have seen the post I made the other day, and I linked back to a video I did a few years ago on making the chocolate syrup. It's probably been more than just a few years, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the recipe here, and I'll put it in the description box as well to make it easy on you. But it's super simple. I created this recipe several years back, and you need is granulated sugar or honey, even though in that video I mentioned something about honey becoming toxic once it's cooked. It's something I had read or heard somewhere. I'm not entirely certain that's true, but what I do believe is that once it's been cooked, the honey will lose quite a bit of its more medicinal properties, but it's still going to maintain its mineral content and so on. So I'm not worried about that, but you can use the honey, or you can use organic cane sugar, which is what I typically use because I can get it for less than I can buy honey. I like to save my raw honey for other things. 3/4 cup of organic cacao powder and 1 cup of milk. So you mix those three ingredients, the sugar or honey, the cacao powder, and the milk, and it can be a vegan milk if you prefer, like coconut milk, almond milk, or whatever. And you cook them on about a medium heat or so until it starts to thicken up. Remove it from the heat, add a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of vanilla extract, preferably your own homemade vanilla extract. As you can see in the video clip that I'll put right here of the chocolate syrup when I made this the other day, I show the vanilla extract next to it because I add that. And also I wanted to share that after I refilled my vanilla extract bottle this time, I took some of the Vanilla Bean King vanilla beans that I'm now an affiliate with, and you can find their link in the description box with, I think it is a 15% discount if you go through that. I went ahead and took one of those vanilla beans, cut it, split it down the middle, opened it up, cut it in half, and stuck it in the bottle that I keep here in the kitchen, and then took 2 more and did the same exact thing and stuck them in the jar that I use for the perpetual vanilla extract, and then simply topped it off with the spiced rum. So if you're interested in having vanilla beans on hand and making your own vanilla extract, that is the one place I feel very comfortable, very good about recommending. And before, I was getting them from whatever source I could find them at the time for the best price. And yes, I'm very happy with them so far. So anyway, yeah, chocolate syrup. And I don't do it very often, but every now and then, especially if Patrick decides to spoil us and buy some vanilla ice cream, it's nice to have some chocolate syrup on hand. And then another thing I wanted to show you is that I did cook up a bunch of kidney beans and got them dehydrated up. I was making tamale pie the other day, and I thought I only had 1 jar of canned kidney beans, ones I canned myself, left, and it was just a pint-sized jar, and it wasn't going to be enough. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and cook up a big batch of kidney beans, because that's the one bean I hadn't done by itself for dehydrating up. And I'll link to my video on dehydrating, on taking dry beans, cooking them, and then dehydrating them, and why you'd want to do that, where I also go over the instructions on how I do it. But I just want to say that the great thing about this is that I don't have to make so much at a time when I'm cooking the beans or chili or whatever it is, so I can fill up my canner full of that when I go to can them. I can simply take whatever's left over, which I'd planned on it being quite a bit, and then stick in my dehydrator and dehydrate it, and then vacuum seal. Very, very much recommend vacuum sealing once they're fully dry. Now, I'll go ahead and say real quickly, why would you want to do this? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Is that even though dehydrating your cooked beans doesn't save as much room as like dehydrating pumpkin or zucchini and rhubarb, because that reduces it down, so you're saving at least 75% storage space by doing that. This might only save you 25% as opposed to canning them. But so you've got that, but here's the other benefit, is that once they're cooked and then dehydrated, I remember when I first heard of this years ago, I was like, why would you take beans that are already in a good storable state, cook them, and then turn on and spend the energy and time dehydrating them? Well, by doing this, you now have them in a more readily accessible form, as opposed to the original dry bean, which can take sometimes days for them to cook soft enough, or at least a full day if you want something much quicker, but don't necessarily want to pressure can. Cooking and then dehydrating is a great way to do it, because they cook up very quickly. They only take a few minutes. You just add your water, heat it through, and maybe 5-10 minutes tops, they're cooked. They're fully hydrated, and they're great for whatever you want to use them in, your tamale pies, your chilies, and so on. Though with the chili, I just make a big pot of chili. Though I have a lot of chili canned, which is nice for on the road because you can eat it right out of the jar. The dehydrated chili, it rehydrates and heats up about as quickly as just opening a jar of pressure can chili and heating it through. It's almost as fast, and it turns out great. So anyway, now I've done that with my kidney beans, so I can just have them in a plain form to use for tamale pie or whatever it is I want to use them in, even if it's adding to soups. And then I want to bring up the barley flakes. So my last order of Azure Standard, I saw these organic barley flakes in there that are just rolled barley, very much like rolled oats. And I thought, I really want to try that. That sounds interesting. I do like oatmeal from time to time, but I really love barley, just generally speaking. And so I really wanted to try it. And I'm happy with these. The taste is very similar to oats, and the texture cook up very much the same way. But you do just get a little bit different flavor and a little bit different texture. So it can add a little bit more variety. And for those who maybe for some reason can't have oats, maybe barley is the answer. But obviously, if you need to be gluten-free, oats would be a better option than the barley. So it's just going to be all up to you. But if you're just wanting to try something a little bit different, I recommend the barley flakes. So I'm probably going to get another bag, even though I have a whole bunch of organic rolled oats. A lot of those do go to my chickens, especially since I can't get them to eat the oat groats. Like, I think it's because they're too sharp. One thing I like about Azure Standard is they do carry grains that are specifically for chickens, so they haven't been sorted, they haven't been hulled or whatever. You can get like a 50-pound bag for really inexpensive, and they're organic and non-GMO. Well, I tried that with the oats. I did that with the barley too. They have barley like that and wheat, and they like those. They don't like the oats in that form. They're kind of spoiled, but they love the rolled oats. So I pay a little more so they can have oats and actually eat them. Another thing I wanted to give you an update on is my first vinegars of the season. And so this is a finished one because I started it before this one, but it's the same. So these are mostly dandelion, but you'll see they have this lovely peach color. And that's because I threw in some violets, some pansies, and some rhododendron flowers just to kind of deepen the color. But this vinegar is for use as a hair wash. I'm all out of my vinegars that I make specifically for a hair wash. When that happens, I use whatever homemade vinegar I have on hand. So today it was some apple vinegar. But anyway, yeah, so now I'll be able to have my floral vinegars again, and I'll be making these throughout the season with different flowers as they're coming in, like honeysuckle. One of my favorites to make is a blend of rosemary and nasturtium flowers, because both of those especially are very good for your hair. But any of the floral ones, lavender and rose is another one I like to make. So anyway, I just wanted you to see how that's coming along. This one's probably got at least another week. The herbs have only just started to sink to the bottom. It's finally just stopped bubbling. So it could be as long as 2 weeks, but we'll see. I'm just going to do a couple of quick garden updates. So I did plant a little patch of einkorn wheat, and it is just coming up like crazy, and I'm so excited. So we'll see if our season's going to be long enough for me to get good mature heads so that I can thresh them and then grind them and see if I can make a loaf of bread out of it. And if it grows well here, then at least now I'll know. So I'm pretty excited to see how they're just sprouting up all over, even in our very cool climate. Usually grains like that grow better on the east side of the mountain range here in Washington State, where it's very warm, very dry through this time of the year, unlike the west side where it's very, very, very wet and on the cooler side. Other garden things is that I did start dehydrating up my marshmallow leaves. I want to start doing that before they just suddenly jump and get very tall and get flowers, because you're going to get a lot more leaves, a lot more green, and it will just keep putting out more. So I do that with the valerian and other types of herbs that I like to collect the leaves from. And so I've got my first full jar. And by the way, I did use a Superb jar. And this does say Superb down here, and I think I saw USA. I had to put on my reading glasses and their lids to vacuum seal that in. So far, very, very happy. And in fact, this is a Superb jar too. This is one of the pint-sized jars that they gave me, and their lid. So I'm just keeping this in the fridge, by the way, the chocolate syrup. Now, with that said about the garden updates, there is a lot going on out there. And for people who may have missed some of my garden updates, I have several different places and ways that I've been putting up the garden updates. You're not going to see like full length standalone garden update videos just because the way my channel is set up right now, and I want to keep all of that stuff within 1 to 3 days of when the video was shot, that the time that it publishes, so you guys can know what's going on at that time, rather than waiting 6 weeks and seeing a garden update that's already 6 weeks late. And now there's other things going on in the garden. So that's why I do it the way I do it. So here's it. As far as YouTube goes, there's 4 different places you're going to see current garden updates. 1 is in my this and that videos, like this one right here. 2 is in shorts, like the one that just published last week, and I know I've put out 1 or 2 more prior to that some people may have missed. Another is in the form of photos that I will post in the community or post section, depending on what it shows on your device. Sometimes it says community, sometimes it says post. It's kind of more like a social media site where you can post pictures and a description, and then you can comment below it. And then the 4th one is in my live shows on my second channel, my Rain Country Live channel, also known as Rain Country 2. That's where I do all my live shows. Then I take those live shows and take the stuff that doesn't have to be current to the time it publishes and do a separate video. And then if you're watching me on YouTube, then I upload it to this YouTube channel, but it will be 6 weeks out. But those are going to be topics. It doesn't matter when it publishes. Just so you know, if you're liking those garden updates, because somebody said, oh, finally, I get to see the garden. Well, I've been doing posts and little video clips and talking about it and showing various things for a little while now. And then the other thing you have to remember too is where you live around the world, and even in the United States, is going to depend on where your garden stage is at. For those of you who live in the South, your gardens should be a lot farther along than ours. We are in the north, but we're also warmer than other northern states. And so they're still just barely getting their garden started, where ours is coming along. So I got potatoes coming up. I just transplanted some corn. I got more corn I'm going to be transplanting. This is all my glass gem corn that I started from seed. And every day I'm out there transplanting something. Sunflowers. Been doing a lot of harvesting of perennial herbs such as the marshmallow, the plantain, my peppermint, and so much more. So yes, I've been putting a lot of posts out about this stuff and showing the gardens. So just make sure if you really like that stuff that you're paying attention to the shorts, to the posts, to the this and that videos, to the live shows if you can make it and you enjoy them. If you can't, don't worry. There's other ways, and maybe you don't watch YouTube at all. Well, I also post video clips, photos, and more on other social media sites such as X and Instagram, and I have my new Substack too. And I just recently did a post where I put several photos in there with a description of what's happening in the garden, but just some of the things that's going on, because there's so much going on out there right now that that post would be really long. So I'm going to try to do at least one Substack a week, at least one short a week, and at least one post a week, plus kind of giving you updates in the this and that videos, just so you know. And another thing, garden related, I have to mention, and this is an apology to those of you who bought any of the arnica and lovage seed that I sold so far. This was a complete mistake. I absolutely have no idea how it happened, but somehow my lovage, this seems to have only happened with the lovage and arnica seed, both of them ended up getting some other kind of seed mixed in there. Now, I don't know what it is. It looks like lemon balm, but it doesn't smell or taste like lemon balm. I have no idea what it is. And so I apologize to anyone who's bought seed so far. I'm going to be opening up all of the packs that I made, the ones that are remaining that I haven't sold. I'm going to be burning those seed, and I'm going to be starting fresh, but I won't be selling any more arnica and any more lovage until fall, when I collect new seed and know for certain what all's in there. So even all the old seed I still have in containers, that's getting tossed out. I find it very odd that this happened, because I've never had this happen before because of how I keep my seeds sorted. It's just very strange. So I really don't know, and I apologize. So if you are one that ended up with a pack of seeds that seems to be growing something that doesn't look like arnica and doesn't look like lovage, and you'll know because arnica will get pointy, smooth leaves, they're true leaves. They're long and pointy and smooth, not wrinkly looking. And then the lovage will get kind of short, almost palm, I don't know, feathery, sort of feathery looking, but short, not longer and feathery like the yarrow does. And if you don't see anything like that in your seeds, but rather you see little short, wide leaves that are very wrinkly looking, but not feathery, then you ended up with a bad batch. And so I promise, if you contact me, especially in the fall, when I have new seeds that I know for certain that's what they are, I will send you out a free pack of seeds. And if you want to order other seeds to go with it, that's great. Or you can contact me and say, oh, looks like I got a bad batch. If you want to send me a photo for proof, that's cool too. And I can just refund your money then, or we can wait and just, I can send you out a fresh pack. And again, I sincerely apologize. The only reason I knew this happened was because I planted those same seeds to get them started in case I wanted more of those plants. And out of all of that, I only ended up with one little lovage coming up, and the rest were whatever that was. I have no idea what it is. Again, it looks a lot like either mojito mint or lemon balm, but doesn't smell or taste like either one. So it's just a very bizarre thing that it just has me really stumped as to what happened there. So very, very sorry, but I do promise I will make it right with anyone who ordered either one or both of those types of seeds from me. And oh, by the way, I should have more other types of herb seeds available. I'm hoping to have stinging nettle available again this coming year. I haven't had stinging nettle seed available in a long time. So hopefully I'll have those. And there was something else I was thinking of. Oh, the chocolate cherry sunflower seeds. I plan on having those available come fall for 2026. And very quickly, if you're not familiar with our photo collaborations, subscriber photo collaborations that I do every so often, and I haven't done one in a long time, I have two that I'm planning that will be coming up. And how it works is, one is a gardening collaboration where you take some really nice pictures of your different garden areas. It can just be pots on the deck or in a window if you want. It just one picture or several. Typically, I'm only going to use 3 per person. And then nice, clear pictures. It'll be a while down the road, but I'm letting you know now so you can start taking some good pictures now. But it won't be until fall that these will come out. So I'll be doing a subscriber garden collaboration. And if you want to put some photos in there, make sure you send the photos to raincountryhomestead@gmail.com with the title garden collaboration and the name that you want me to ascribe to your photo. It doesn't have to be your full name. It can be whatever you want it to be if you want to stay anonymous. And then in a separate email, if you want to be a part of the other photo collaboration, it'll be a food preservation collaboration. So as you're either buying food and canning or dehydrating or freeze drying or whatever it is you like to do to put up your food, or you're getting it from your garden and doing that, same thing. Take some nice photos, make sure they're good and clean and clear, not too much background noise going on that can distract from the photo, and send that in a separate email to the same address, raincountryhomestead@gmail.com, with the title food preservation collaboration. So don't put them all in the same email because they're going to go in two separate folders. This is very important. All right, well, that's it for my this and that. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out all my social media links and video links and recipes I'll be putting in the description box down below. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.